begin with gratitude. Gratitude is a word that we have used frequently this week. It is an emotion that we have felt and that we have realized over the course of the last 2 years. We have seen this as not only a journey for ourselves, but our journey for our loved ones and our family who are here. So I wish to express gratitude to all those who really were the ones who allowed us to be here, who enabled us to do this, to be able to actually grow in this capacity as integrative medicine providers, to be able to share that vision. And I want to personally thank myself. I remember my mother, who is with me in spirit, as she is in another realm of existence, and my dear father, who I dedicate everything that I do to him and everything that he has done, because my success is his success. And I thank you, Dad. And I want all of us to thank and applaud all of the wonderful, meaningful people in our lives which have given us so much to allow us to achieve so much. And so I also want, with the spirit of gratitude, to recognize the giants to my left, if that is okay. I want to begin with Anne-Marie, to thank her for her spiritual guidance, for the heart center that she gives to all of us. And the goal of integrative medicine at its core is to return medicine to its heart center. And you are helping us to achieve that. And we thank you. And we bless you. And I want to thank next Dr. Victoria Mazes. She only shared a few drops of the blood and the sweat and the tears that she had put together for this program to become a center, to become a source of light to so many. Without her diligence, without her strategy, without all of her dedication to go through the thankless part of all the different things and all the things that I'm sure that we would never even want to know about, that you have had to overcome for us. We wouldn't be here without you, so thank you. And of course, Andy. I don't know if I'll ever be able to grow a beard like that. I had to say something about the beard. At some point I wanted to touch it, but I don't know if that's good. I can ask that at this point. I won't put you on the spot for that right now. Awesome, you told me to incorporate humor, so hopefully that was humorous. So, you know, there's really few words that can say, you know, what the path that you've created for us. You know, Dr. Mazey had talked about how we are still pioneers, right? There's a nucleus of us, 1,500 of us now around the world. And this nucleus wouldn't exist without a Big Bang, right? If you think about the Big Bang theory, everything starts with that Big Bang. And Dr. Andrew Weil is that Big Bang, right? And that brings now, we have to carry forward. Okay, and so I want to thank him for his vision, and we hope to be able to be worthy of that vision in the years and decades and centuries ahead. For our children's, right? Right? Okay. So now that I got the most important part out of the way, which is, you know, really thanking our teachers, our guides, and our loved ones, let me speak to the task of the hour. As we heard yesterday, we are at a point of crisis. We don't have a healthcare system. We have a reactive, after-the-fact disease management system. We do not focus on health and well-being. We focus on disease and numbers. We don't focus on people. We focus on conditions. We are driven by all sorts of crises because of our system. We are talking about the opioid crisis. We're talking about the diseases of our time. What are the diseases of our time? The chronic diseases of our time. 7 out of every 10 deaths and 77% of all health expenditures are 3 major disease categories: heart disease, diabetes, and cancer. That accounts for the majority of costs and the majority of death. These are not diseases that happen overnight. These are the diseases of lifestyle. You can't catch a heart attack like you can catch a cold. Yet we approach everything with this after-the-fact reactive acute care model. And where did this model come from? As a student of the history of medicine, I have to take us back 100 years ago. About 100 years ago, we were in the period of clinical nihilism. That period was characterized by physicians really being palliative in their approach. People were dying from acute infectious diseases left and right. Tuberculosis, typhoid, polio, influenza took many, many lives. Physicians were powerless to do anything. All we could do is palliate and provide a sugar pill. We now know from the power of mind-body, and yes, there is a mind-body connection, and we will affirm that, and we have seen that, and we will continue to see that, that sugar pill actually did much more than we thought it did. But we learned powerful tools. There were breakthroughs in bacteriology from Koch and Pasteur, and there was a coming together of philanthropy in a way that was unprecedented, from the Carnegies to the Rockefellers, to infuse medicine with the capital that it needed to shift and actually treat the diseases of the day, which are those acute infectious diseases. Now, laboratory science became the paramount, and we actually began winning the war. The other thing that happened, and I have to put my public health hat on, is that we had sanitation systems and nutrition in a way that we never had before. And because of that, access to real sanitation, clean water, healthy food sources, we were also able to save lives from the vectors of disease transmission, right? All these infectious diseases. But as early as the 1930s, public health officials noted the shift in the disease burden from acute to chronic disease. And that shift has accelerated ever since. Now we see the most prevalent preventable causes of death: obesity, heart disease, cancer, metabolic syndrome as a common pathway of chronic inflammation for these conditions that we're just learning about, even more than we have before. And yet we still are stuck in the old paradigm. We still have an acute care model. What we need now more than ever is a prevention-focused integrative medicine model. Integrative medicine, what does that mean? Why prevention? Because these diseases happen over time. And what is the goal of prevention? Prevention, from the Latin root preventus, means to anticipate or forestall. If you take prevention and disease and put them together, it means to anticipate or forestall the forecoming of a disease. And so disease prevention together, the goal is not to cure these diseases, but to forestall them for as long as possible, and to compress morbidity or illness to the end of the lifespan, and to increase the period of disease-free, high-quality, high-functioning life. Integrative medicine provides a way for us to really reconnect medicine with public health and refocus our system towards prevention in a way where we have never had before. The tools are powerful. The evidence is there. Take, for example, the opioid crisis. How many people have been dependent on these medications that have been debilitating? Dr. Weil recently wrote a book about medications. 60% of Americans are on at least one prescription drug. The costs of these medications are astronomical. Costs in terms of lives, within the top 10 causes of death, adverse reactions to drugs. Yet we have these powerful tools like acupuncture, mind-body therapies. There's evidence for these. We don't need to simply focus on the medication. And the way I see it, as physicians, we can either medicate, manipulate, or educate. We've learned to medicate, and that's what we've been doing. We also can manipulate and do surgery and do incision and drainage, right? And those are very powerful things for acute conditions. But our acute care model falls short to really treat the diseases of our time. And as integrative medicine physicians, our goal should be to educate. We have been educated, and we want to share that education with others. And we want to grow the light of that education beyond this room and across the globe. Part of that education is avoiding fundamentalism, as Andy told us earlier this week. The extremes. We see religious fanaticism. We also see fanaticism in science. The religion of science is called reductionism. It's been around for the last 100 years. And it's the idea that everything can be reduced to a single super bullet that can solve everything. Our culture also continues to perpetuate that. You see the commercials of the guy at the carnival who wants to eat the hot dog, and he says, I can't do it, but then his wife shows up and says, well, there's the purple pill. So now everything's okay. You can just take the pill and eat the hot dog. Well, maybe it was a vegan hot dog, I don't know. But there's other ways to approach it. But the idea is, it's not just a quick fix. And when we talked about what is it that we were looking for, I heard that we were looking for clarity. We're looking for meaning and connection and community. We have to build that community. From the nucleus of 1500, we have to spread out. We have to develop it like seeds. And when we see the adversity and the challenges that come to us, we have to look at that as winds of change. If we are seeds, then we want wind, because we want that wind to spread us far and wide. So when that adversity comes, I say, come, bring that wind so that I can go to where I need to be, so I can lead the charge in the direction and the path that I need to lead it. And I want to stand with all of you so that we can lead that together and we can build that community. Avoid the extremes, the fundamentalism. Bring back the integrative, that soul of medicine. We don't discredit things that are alternative, and we don't accept them without looking at them and looking for evidence and trying to understand them. We also don't take away all conventional. We bring the best of both worlds. The word integrative has been thrown out, and this is a controversial point, in many different practices of our colleagues out there who are maybe one-sided, and they call themselves integrative, right? Then there's the functional and other folks, and there's overlap. But really, integrative medicine brings the best of all these and is truly the solution. I'm not biased, I'm serious. The reason why it's the solution is because it doesn't compromise in avoiding the extremes. It is the voice of reason in this crazy time, politically and in our healthcare system. It finds a way to meld things that are unmeldable, right? Bringing energy medicine with conventional allopathic medicine. Just think about that. Pause and reflect. That's profound. I started out as a philosophy major. I never thought I'd go to medical school, but I read one of Andy's books, and I was always moved by the whole spirit of what this meant philosophically, about integrating philosophically, not just medical pluralism, but philosophically bringing all of these healing traditions together. It really should just be medicine. Medicine as that beautiful thing, which is the simultaneous intersection of art, science, and really becoming a student of all aspects of the human condition. And we learn from each other, and we serve each other, and we build community. So I ask us and I challenge us all to stay connected, to use the email list that was sent out, to connect with alumni. If you live in Phoenix, please let me know. We need to be able to grow this, and we need to go beyond where we are now to be able to achieve the crisis. From my faith tradition, it is said that we should know that when we are and where we are is for our development and the development of others. So trust where you are and who you are around. And ours is not to choose the circumstances that we have been given, but we have the choice with what we do with it. We have the choice with how we see it and how we act on it. So let us act collectively, individually, towards a vision of the future, an integrative medicine vision. Thank you.